good enough for you, cause we've got your black. So, head on over to Lionel Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the dealers humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers coast to coast.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. That, of course, is Curtis Mayfield. June is Black Music Month, and so as we do every year on this program, in the month of June, we choose a different artist of the day, and we play their music all 3 hours of our program. I said in our first hour today that Curtis Mayfield is on my list of the most underappreciated, undervalued artists of all time. We just don't give Curtis his respect. As a matter of fact, I recall, God rest her soul, Sinead O'Connor. Speaking of a great artist, Sinead O'Connor was on my program one night, and she made the same point. She says, Tavis, I just think Curtis Mayfield is just underrated. And so we were simpatico in that regard. So it's not just Sinead O'Connor and Tavis Smiley. I know there are many others who believe that Curtis Mayfield, even all these years later, his catalog doesn't get the respect that it truly deserves. And so we're honored today to be celebrating the music of Curtis Mayfield all 3 hours of this program. I told you at the top of the show today we'd have a guest in our second hour. And we talked to Clarence Thomas, and I told you then, no, not that Clarence Thomas. This Clarence Thomas is a different Clarence. I actually like this Clarence Thomas. The other one I pray for. The other one's at the top of my prayer list every day because I've been praying for 30-some years, and my prayers seem to hit the ceiling and bounce right back down. My prayers for Clarence Thomas have not yielded any results. That Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court, that is. This Clarence Thomas I actually like, and I think you will too once you hear him in this hour. Former labor union leader, and he happens to be the uncle of the revolutionary filmmaker Ryan Coogler, and he's also the author of a book called Mobilizing in Our Own Name, Million Worker March. I am honored because Bill Lucy was a dear friend of mine who passed away some time ago, but I've been honored in my career to have been friends with some pretty major labor leaders. I wish I'd had a chance to have known A. Philip Randolph. Speaking of great labor leaders, but in my life and career, I've met many and worked with many, and so I am honored to welcome a legend in the field of labor and labor organizing, Clarence Thomas, Uncle Buzz, as Ryan Coogler calls him. Uncle Buzz, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, and I'm honored to be on the show.
It's an honor to have you,
Brother
man.
Tavis.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you in studio. Thanks for coming in. Let me just start. We'll just do the Ryan thing first. We'll move past that and get into some stuff here. So tell me how you are. How are you, Ryan's uncle? What's the family tree here?
Ryan's mother is my youngest sister.
Okay.
And she's Jocelyn.
Mm-hmm.
And, children in all families, in a lot of not only black families, but people talk about how, this child reminds me of so-and-so, and this child. And so in our family, Ryan was compared to me. And he didn't particularly care for that. I don't think children like to be compared to their elders.
Yeah.
But it had to do, I think, with what he was like as a child.
Mm-hmm.
My mother is going to resent this, and I don't want people to misunderstand. But have you ever seen Sheldon?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that he was Sheldon-like, but he was precocious.
Yeah.
Asked a lot of questions, and was very curious, but academic and also very athletic, with two doting parents, Jocelyn and his dad, Ira, who was very much involved in keeping all of his three sons involved with sports and academics.
Yeah.
And one of the remarkable moments that I remember in Ryan's childhood was that my wife, Dolores Lemon Thomas, who is a retired educator and my partner in Declare Publishing, she came up with the idea of sending our grandson, DeAndre, who's 9 at the time, and Ryan to space camp in Orlando, Florida. And Ryan was 8 years old at the time, and our grandson was 9. And just to add some context, our sister and my brother-in-law, they started Ryan in school early. There was some second thoughts about that because even though his intellectual capacity was one thing, his chronological development and maturity was something else.
Sure.
But we had to convince his dad to allow him because he's 8 years old and never been away from home. And it was in Orlando, Florida. So he finally agreed to let Ryan go. So Ryan and our grandson, they were there at Space Camp. It's Space Camp, for people who don't know, it's an educational camp that focuses on space exploration, aviation, and robotics, and things of this nature.
Oh, yeah.
And so we thought it would be a great opportunity for our children to get exposed and to broaden their horizons. Ryan went along with DeAndre. And he was okay during the day hours, but in the evenings, he got very homesick and would call. But one of the things that was so surprising, and I guess it shouldn't have been, was how much he and his cousin retained in terms of the information. And they were questions that were asked, they had their hands raised up, and it was really a defining moment because Ryan matured, and I don't know how I would have responded to being away from my family at 8 years of age. But that was a very special moment for all of us. Yeah. One of the things that I think about our family is that we're very close-knit. And I'm going to share something intimate that my brother and comrade, Danny Glover, who I've known for over half a century, after Ryan did...
Hold that thought. I want to hear this story. I'm looking at my clock here.
Okay.
I'm going to cut you off in 30 seconds, and I don't want to do that.
All right.
So I want to hear that. I love Danny Glover. I consider Danny a personal friend. We've traveled the world together to Cuba to see Castro. We've been to Venezuela to meet with the president there. I've traveled the world with Danny Glover. I love him dearly. So I want to hear this story.
Yes.
We're talking to Uncle Buzz. His real name is Clarence Thomas, but that's what Ryan Coogler calls him, Uncle Buzz. More with Uncle Buzz when we come forward on Tavis Smiley as we celebrate June, Black Music Month, and the music today of Curtis Mayfield.
It's a wonder he lived this long. Up in the city, they called him Boss Jack. But down home, he was a alley cat. I didn't care nothing about being black.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid. I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
We people who are darker than blue, are we gonna stand around this town and let what others say come true? We're just good for nothing, they all figure. A boyish grown-up shiftless jigger. Now we can't hardly stand for that. Or is that really where it's at?
That Curtis Mayfield song came on, and Uncle Buzz went right in. He started singing the lyrics from the first word. So clearly there are a whole lot of us who love Curtis Mayfield and think he doesn't get the respect he deserves. And so we are celebrating Curtis Mayfield's music all 3 hours of this program today as we continue, of course, to celebrate June as Black Music Month. The aforementioned Uncle Buzz is really Clarence Thomas, not that Clarence Thomas, the real deal Clarence Thomas. We call him Uncle Buzz because that's what Ryan Coogler, his nephew, calls him, Uncle Buzz. So I was saying to Uncle Buzz moments ago, and he mentioned the name Danny Glover. I love Danny Glover. I bow down to the name of Danny Glover. He's a dear friend, dear brother. We have literally traveled the world together. As I mentioned, we met with Castro together in Cuba, and I got a big interview out of that. We met with Hugo Chavez together in Venezuela. We've met with a couple of prime ministers and presidents in Haiti, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, Rene Preval. So I've been fortunate to travel the world with my friend and brother Danny Glover. But you knew Danny long before I did. Y'all met what, back in 1966?
In 1966, we were both students at City College of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And then we were also students at San Francisco State College. It's a university now. Yeah. And we were part of the first Black Student Union in the United States of America. And we initiated the longest student strike in American history to establish a Black Studies and School of Ethnic Studies, which has been in existence at State College for 56 years. Wow. And that created an atmosphere for Black scholars and ethnic study scholars all over the country to be hired in various ethnic studies programs. I was recently speaking at the University of Hawaii in Manoa, and I was presented with a shawl that was given to me by the Black Students Association in recognition of my contribution to the establishment of ethnic studies. 2 years after the establishment of Black Studies at San Francisco State, Hawaiian Studies was formally introduced at the University of Hawaii in Manoa. And so that connection.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is what Donald Trump is currently attacking. Mm-hmm. He does not, it started out with the right attacking the critical race theory.
That's right.
But fundamentally, the idea of any kind of truth-telling to students is opposed because they want to maintain the myth of white supremacy. I remember Dr. King saying many, many years ago that the foundation of capitalism was not established by the Christian, Western Christian work ethic. It was established on the foundation of slavery. And people sometimes forget those prophetic statements that Dr. King made. Getting back to the issue of Danny Glover and what he mentioned to me, this was right after Ryan's successful direction of Black Panther, where he takes a Marvel character and he manages to fashion a story that is anti-imperialist, anti-colonial. And I kind of compare that, if for those of you who in the audience who listen to jazz music, if you've ever heard My Favorite Things, My Favorite Things was introduced by Oscar Hammerstein, and it was in The Sound of Music. But when Coltrane played that, he completely revolutionized the whole approach. And that's how I see Ryan doing with the Marvel film. I had never paid any money to go to a Marvel film. But after the success of Black Panther, Danny said, Buzz, says, I want to tell you something. He says, make sure that you and the family stay close to Ryan. He says, don't let him get caught up in the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, because there's so much insincerity there. And what I was able to share with Danny was that Ryan is so close to his family that that would never be an issue. He continues to live in the Bay Area. He constantly is involved with sharing his prosperity with his friends and family. He's very close to his family, and he's only in Hollywood to do his work. But I appreciated that a bit of information from Danny Glover because of all that he represents. And I see Ryan in the same tradition as Danny Glover, R.C. Davis, Harry Belafonte, Paul Robeson, individuals who were artists and entertainers who utilized their celebrity status for the benefit of serving humanity and speaking out against issues of racism and capitalism. And so I admire Ryan for that, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that today in terms of things that he's done outside of the field of cinema. That's so important.
No, I'm glad you raised that. The thing about Ryan that so impresses me, and I was reaching for my phone during that commercial break to show Uncle Buzz a photo of the very first time I met Ryan Coogler. I have the honor of being the person that put him on national television first. When Fruitvale was just coming out, I had he and Michael Jordan together on my couch on my PBS program, and I loved the photo of all three of us looking much younger then. Certainly yours truly. My hair wasn't as gray then as it is now. Ryan and Michael still look young, me not so much. But it was a great photo, a great moment of the three of us together on that set, and since that time I've rocked with both of them since then. But the thing about Ryan that so impresses me, and I get it now, somebody once said the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And when you hear about his parents and you get to meet Uncle Buzz, as you are at least virtually right now, you understand why Ryan is so rooted in the way that he is. And I believe that our roots, our R-O-O-T-S, help determine our roots, R-O-U-E, R-O-U-T-E-S. Our roots, if I could spell here, our roots determine our roots, right? And so when I see how people are showing up in the world and where they're going, the routes that they're taking, it says something to me about how they are rooted.
Yes.
And I get that loud and clear now when I hear this story. But the thing about it that impresses me is how young he is. And I want to connect it back to Danny Glover and to the names of these great icons that you called. I am always blown away, Uncle Buzz, by how young these leaders were when they impacted and changed the world.
Yes.
I mean, I told somebody the other day, we know this. King and Martin and Malcolm are both dead at 39.
That's right.
They're dead at 39.
Yes.
So these guys in their 20s, and we could add to that list Andy Young and Jesse Jackson, and all day long I could do this, and John Lewis and Wyatt T. Walker. These guys are kids, and they fundamentally changed the world as we know it. And to your point about Ryan, I see Ryan again in that same vein. He's doing it cinematically, but the fact that he is so rooted and so focused, that he gets it so well at such a young age, blows me away. But I guess it shouldn't, now that I know his family connections.
Yeah, well, you know, and I want to just say a little bit about my own background. I'm a third-generation retired member of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union, Local 10 in San Francisco. And for those in the audience who don't know what longshore workers do, we're some of the most important workers in the global economy. The cars you drive, the athletic shoes you wear, cell phones, computers, the wines you drink, the food you eat, all come off of a ship. And it's longshore workers that are responsible for loading and unloading.
That's right.
Yeah. And one of the largest maritime complex in the United States of America is here in Los Angeles and Long Beach. But one of the things about my local, ILW Local 10, is that we have been called the social conscience of our union. Let me throw something out to you. In 1967, when the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King came to the Bay Area for a fundraiser with Harry Belafonte and Joan Baez, Dr. King stopped at our union hall because of all the support that he had gotten over the years. You know what he said? I feel very welcome here in ILW Local 10. And he mentioned that the idea for the sit-ins came from demonstrations by the auto workers in 1937 in Flint, Michigan, where they took over the plants. He also said that labor and the civil rights movement represented the bedrock of democracy. And so we made Dr. King an honorary member of Local 10 6 months before his assassination. And a lot of people don't know that. Juneteenth is going to be celebrated in a couple of weeks. My local that I retired from, ILW Local 10, initiated a resolution calling for all 29 ports on the West Coast to not work for 8 hours to commemorate Juneteenth, and also to protest the police killings of George Floyd, Eric Garner, and Breonna Taylor, and so many others. And on that day in 2020, when we initiated the Juneteenth action, Angela Davis spoke, and she said, quote, "We're still on the long road to freedom." And she said, when the ILWU takes a stand, the world feels its reverberation. And she was basically talking about the power of the working class in being able to make its impact on the world. In 1990, after the release of Nelson Mandela, he spoke at the Oakland Coliseum before thousands.
That's right.
And he acknowledged ILW Local 10 for its refusal to handle South African cargo for 11 days in 1984. This is when Nelson was on Robben Island. And one of the reasons why this is so significant is because, as I mentioned earlier about longshore workers, what we handle in terms of cargo ends up being merchandise in stores. And it's connected to trucking and rail. And the ship must sail on time. So when there's a disruption in that flow, it sends shockwaves throughout the global chain, as we have recently witnessed with Trump and the tariffs. I'm going to share a little information very quickly, but in the month of May 2025, with the tariffs that Trump, 30 ships were canceled at the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles. So that just goes to show you. But I think that in getting back to Ryan and the family, I'm a third-generation longshore worker, and there's no doubt about it, the activities of Uncle Buzz and my relationship with my family, we're very, very close, has impacted. After Oscar Grant was killed, the young black man who was killed on January 1st, 2009, I believe, he was out celebrating with his girlfriend on the platform of the BART station, Bay Area Rapid Transit. And he was handcuffed and shot in the back by Johannes Mesley, a BART cop. Well, his Uncle Bobby, Oscar's uncle, came to our union and he shared with us all the particulars. That resonated with our union members because in our own history, in 1934, we had 2 members who were strikers to be shot in the back.
Hold that thought. This is, we'll continue, we come forward. This is a great story. The uncle of Oscar Grant comes to your union. This is long before Ryan knows anything about this.
That is absolutely correct.
And brings it to us as a film called Fruitvale Station.
That is correct.
Hold that thought. We're going to pick up on that when we come forward. This is getting good. You're listening to Uncle Buzz, Clarence Thomas, on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City's Black Mayor Eric Adams cut the ribbon today on the Arches, a revitalized public space under the Brooklyn Bridge.
You look at those who walk across the bridge every day. Hundreds of thousands of people come here, and now they're going to see how they can walk across and enjoy a beautiful park.
Over 2 acres just opened with a $50 million investment pledged to keep improving the historic site. The Supreme Court unanimously revived a case from an Ohio woman who says she was discriminated against at work for being straight. The ruling could make it easier for majority group members to bring bias claims in some U.S. regions. And the first trailer for Wicked Part 2 for Good is here. The sequel dives into a second act of the hit Broadway musical set before and after Dorothy's arrival in Oz. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo and the star-studded cast return this November. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org. Is this the devil?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A tough night for both of LA's baseball teams. The Dodgers lost at home to the New York Mets 6-1. If you want to skip work today, the Dodgers wrap up their 7-game homestand with a day game. They play the Mets again, first pitch at 1:10. The Angels lost at Boston 11-9. The Angels are back on Friday night against Seattle to start a 6-game homestand. The NBA Finals jump off tonight. The Oklahoma City Thunder are heavy favorites to beat the Indiana Pacers in the best-of-7 finals. OKC is a 9.5-point favorite to win Game 1. It's tough not to look at OKC as the more dominant team. They won 68 games in the regular season and are 12-4 in the playoffs. A word of caution, do not sleep on the Pacers. Early in the season, the Pacers were 10-15 and did not look like a playoff contender. Look where they are today. Tip-off time tonight is 5:30 on ABC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There'll be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Hush not, child, and don't cry. Your folks might understand you by and by. Just move on up toward your destination. Though you may find from time to time complication.
We're celebrating Curtis Mayfield all 3 hours of our program today. June, as you know, is Black Music Month, and so we feature a different artist every day and play some of the best of their catalog all 3 hours of our program. We continue this spirited and powerful conversation with Uncle Buzz, Clarence Thomas, former labor union leader, author of the book Mobilizing in Our Own Name, Million Worker March. He just happens to be the uncle of, I think we agree on this term, the revolutionary filmmaker, Ryan Coogler. I just showed Uncle Buzz, as a matter of fact, I'm showing him now, I showed him a picture of the day that Ryan and Michael and I sat for the very first conversation I had with Ryan publicly on my PBS show many, many years ago. And just to watch all that Michael B. Jordan has done career-wise, and just to consider the impact that his nephew, Ryan Coogler, is having right now cinematically is a thing of beauty. And so I'll always treasure this photo of these 2 young guys, and they were just getting started working together. But you were telling us of the story of Oscar Grant's uncle coming to your union. This is long before we see the movie Fruitvale Station.
That is correct.
Finish that story, Uncle Buzz.
Yes. And so, as I was mentioning, Uncle Bobby came, and he was explaining the the family dynamics and the particulars of what had occurred with the murder of Oscar. And so our union members are very familiar with the role of the police as it relates to labor struggles. And in 1934, there was a West Coast waterfront strike. The whole West Coast was paralyzed. And so there were demonstrations taking place, and the police were trying to allow the ports to be open so that scabs could work. And the longshore workers were fighting and they're defending themselves. And so in July 5th, 1934, we call that Bloody Thursday, 2 strikers were killed, shot in the back by the San Francisco Police Department. And so we understand the dynamics of the police, who they represent, and what they're and that sort of thing. And I think it really makes a difference, because this whole issue of police murdering of black people, it's a workers' issue, because in most instances the people who are being killed are working class. But to get back to the issue of Uncle Bobby speaking, he spoke, and he was very well received. What took place after that was a motion made that we would withhold our labor, calling for jail for killer cops and justice for Oscar Grant. This was during the time that Johannes Meserly was on trial. And for 8 hours, no work was done in the Port of Oakland, San Francisco, Benicia, Richmond, and throughout the whole Bay Area. And so the attorney for Johann Meserly says, I don't understand. What does longshore workers have to do with this case? And our response is, well, this is a working class matter. This is not a matter that's unrelated to labor. Because when you look at the history of working people in this country, there's so much that we don't know that's been hidden. For an example, May Day. Many people think that May Day is a communist holiday, when in fact it's a holiday that has been celebrated by communist countries, but it had to do with the struggle in the United States of America for the 8-hour workday and people who died. And so there's been a great effort to keep that information hidden. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, once again, we see the police gunning down working people as they are attempting to challenge the bosses.
I'm fascinated to know how it is that you processed sitting with Ryan and your family and watching Fruitvale Station when the movie came out, given that you were actually a part of this story. He had Uncle Bobby had come to your union. How did you process it when the film actually came out?
Let me just say,
and your nephew's the guy behind it.
Let me just say this. So he says, Uncle Buzz, I'm doing a film on Oscar Grant. I said, okay. And my first thought was, I remember when he was a student at USC Film School. And he did a film called Fig, and it was about sisters who were being exploited by, and what do you call,
sex traffic.
Sex trafficking.
Yeah, sure.
And the name Fig had to do with Figueroa Street.
Sure.
And Ryan was a student, and he was taking his camera on Figueroa, and the faculty was all concerned, what is he doing on Figueroa? And it wound up being capturing awards. So when Ryan mentioned that he was doing a film about Oscar Grant, I'm thinking that it was going to be something like maybe a documentary, or without going, I was working at the time. And then all of a sudden, there were these cameras and these trucks carrying film equipment and lights and stuff at my mother's house. That's what's going on. was shooting a scene with Octavia Spencer
Yeah.
in my mother's kitchen, and she using a pot for gumbo, and so then it's becoming a reality of what this really is, right?
Yeah.
And so it was total amazement.
Yeah.
And that story was so important because what it did was it attracted a lot of activists who wanted to get Ryan's input and support in terms of what is it we can do to get artists and entertainers to have a response to these killings. Yeah. And that led to Blackout for Human Rights, which was a network of artists and entertainers and directors all coming together after this was in 2014, after the killings of by the cops of Eric Garner and John Crawford and Michael Brown in Ferguson.
Yep.
And so Ava DuVernay.
Ava DuVernay, yes, sure.
And they started to call for people to boycott Black Fridays in order to use their buying consumer power to protest income and social inequality. Yeah. And so let me tell you, one of the things that happened in 2016.
Hold that thought. You got this figured out now, don't you?
Yes.
Every now and then I jump and I say, hold that thought.
Yes.
It's radio. You get this.
All right.
And we're going to pick up on 2016 when we come forward. Uncle Buzz got stories. I say all the time that what makes radio work is anecdotal storytelling. Tell me a story. You got me hooked. I'm hooked. I know you hooked. We're going to go to 2016 or back to 2016 when we come forward with Uncle Buzz, Clarence Thomas on Tavis Smiley.
Watch out, but just move on up. We move on up. Move on up.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Uncle Buzz, Clarence Thomas, who happens to be the uncle of Ryan Coogler, former labor union leader, author of the book Mobilizing in Our Own Name, Million Worker March. Sometimes the best part of this program happens during the breaks. So during the break, I picked up my phone and I called Danny Glover. And he actually picked up. I said, Danny, it's Tavis. Tavis, what's up, babe? What's up, babe? I said, you'd never guess what I'm doing right now. He said, what? I said, I'm live on the air with Clarence Thomas, Uncle Buzz. He said, Buzz! So we literally, in the break, just talked to Danny Glover. And
Beautiful.
Just told Danny how much we love him. His name has come up 2 or 3 times in this conversation. So let me just call Danny. I haven't talked to him in a little while. But I'm so glad that Danny Glover picked up and we just said hello to Danny during the break. That said, you would tell me about 2016. Take it away, Uncle Buzz.
Yes. This Black Out for Human Rights was a real revolutionary idea that Ryan had envisioned with various artists. And so in 2016, in the aftermath of the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, Ryan organized a Justice for Flint. And he put together a wonderful I guess the best benefit with people like what's her name? Monet. What's her Janelle Romay?
Janelle Monet.
Monet.
Yeah, Janelle
and
Monet, yeah.
Robert Glasper,
Robert Glasper.
Stevie Wonder, and many, many others. And I was there. And our union contributed to that event, which is consistent with how the ILWU feels about people who are doing things for the benefit of the community. That arena was packed. It was on a Sunday, and I felt so proud to see Ryan being involved in these crises and doing things, real things, and giving people real hope and benefit. And I just wanted to, talk about that.
I'm glad you said that. My time is getting tight. But what this conversation is bringing to the fore, what it's reminding me of, is the power that labor has in this country when they use it effectively.
Yes, I just wanted to say that in 2004, ILWU Local 10, which is the only predominantly African-American local on the West Coast, initiated a Million Worker March. And the whole idea is this T-shirt that I'm wearing, which I have one for you,
thank you,
was to talk about issues like protecting Social Security, cutting the military budget, universal health care, overturning Taft-Hartley, which is a anti-worker legislation that even President Truman vetoed and called the Slave Labor Act. The right for workers to organize, justice for immigrants. These are some of the issues that were discussed. And these are issues, Tavis, no matter if you are a Republican or a Democrat, a communist, a socialist, if you are a worker in this country, you believe in affordable housing. You also believe in health care and that you should have it whether or not you have a job or not. The Democratic Party and the officialdom of labor fought us tooth and nail on this because they wanted to have a campaign for John Kerry, and it was called Anybody But Bush. But they resented any kind of mobilization that they interpreted that was going to divert attention away from the election. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because in most industrial countries, there is a labor party that represents the interests of working people.
Not here.
Not here. And I think that the Million Worker March represented that. I would also like to say this.
Oh, that one last thought.
Yes.
I promise it's my last time doing it.
Okay.
When we come forward in our remaining moments, I got one or two questions right quick for Uncle Buzz. I'll let him make his final point. You're listening to Tavis Smiley, and I'm glad about it.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? You may be able to reduce your risk by managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure, being physically active, eating healthy, and exercising your mind. To learn more about AD, the importance of early diagnosis and intervention, and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Clarence Thomas, Uncle Buzz, the uncle of Ryan Coogler. We got 4 minutes left. You were going to make one point, and then I know you want to share some information with us. Take it away, Uncle Buzz.
Yes, the importance of black labor is so critical, and a lot of people don't understand that the March on Washington movement started in 1941.
That's right.
With A. Philip Randolph.
That's right.
But did not actually take place until 1963. The other point I wanted to make about the issue of Curtis Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
In 1968, there was a birthday party for Huey Newton. I was in the Panther Party at the time, and H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, Eldridge Cleaver, even Ron Dellums, who was a city councilman at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who performed? The Impressions.
Wow.
I was on.
I didn't see that coming. Go ahead.
I was on post.
Yeah.
Guarding the money, and I didn't see any of the show. The best thing I can say is that I was trusted.
Yeah.
And it was my first wife, Judy Juanita, who got me involved with the Panthers.
Yeah.
The second point I wanted to bring up.
So you're the original Black Panther in Ryan Coogler's life.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. And when he introduced me to Chadwick Boseman, he said, "I want to introduce you to my Uncle Buzz," and I said, "Yeah, Black Panther, you meeting the real Black Panther."
There you go.
The other point I wanted to make is anyone wants to buy any of our books, they can go to millionworkermarch.com. millionworkermarch.com to buy a book. And the next point I want to make is a solemn one. Just 2 days ago, the ILWU lost an icon, and his name is Lawrence Tebow. He was the vice president of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union pensioners organization, Pacific Coast Pensioners Association, and head of the San Francisco Pensioners Club. He was a real fighter and an iconic figure, and I want to extend my condolences to his family and to all the members of ILWU.
That's a perfect note on which to close. Uncle Buzz, two things I want to say to you right quick. One, we are grateful for your work and your witness all these years, these many years, and that work and witness is ongoing, number one. Number two, I didn't get a chance to tell you this during the conversation, but my biological father was a longshoreman.
Is that right?
In Gulfport, Mississippi.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's that. So this conversation is, the dots are sort of connecting. Number one, number two, and number three. I said to you, and I think the audience gets it now. We understand Ryan Coogler a little bit better now that we've been introduced to his family. As I said earlier, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Ryan Coogler got it honest, and I would love to meet the rest of y'all's family one day, because I'm sure those family gatherings must be
possible.
Maybe possible. I'm sure that'd be interesting. Anyway, thank you for coming in.
And thank you for having me.
No, it's my great honor. What a great hour this was. I enjoyed it even more than I thought I would. But there's still 1 hour to go, so I got to do this again for the next 60 minutes. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. New York City's Black Mayor Eric Adams cut the ribbon today on the Arches, a revitalized public space under the Brooklyn Bridge.
Look at those who walk across the bridge.